Why traveling the world is so important. Now, traveling the world, I don't mean you need to go to Dubai and spend thousands of pounds on like expensive restaurants or, that kind of thing. When I mean traveling the world, I mean like literally just packing your backpack, getting on a train and going to a completely new city that you've never been to. Or getting on a bus or coach and just going somewhere. Like, I'm from the UK, so I've actually just like literally got on a coach and gone to Wales, and that's like a whole different country. Like they got Cardiff. I went to the capital, Cardiff, and traveled around Liverpool, gone to Brighton, gone to just different parts in the UK. And I just think that when you go and you travel, it doesn't matter if you're in America or it doesn't matter what country you're in, when you go and travel the world and actually see things, you see life from like a different perspective. And I think that that can help people grow as a human. I think that a lot of people stay in their bubble and like spend a lot of money on like their house or buying things like a new TV or new watch or new gaming console, or spend their money on things where instead of spending that money on that, if you spend the money to literally just go and travel and get on a train or bus or coach or whatever and go see a new city, sometimes it can give you a new perspective on life, and you can actually grow as an individual because you're seeing a new side of the world. And sometimes it's really cool. Like I went to Liverpool, and there's like a whole by the Black Beals museum. There's like a whole really nice building, and there's a lot of old architecture, things I didn't even know in the UK. Which, if I never did that, I would have never seen that. But this is what I'm trying to say. That I just think that getting a new perspective and actually getting outside your comfort zone is something that everyone should do to grow. And I think that it's really important that people try and travel as much as you can, because the world is so huge and there's so many countries, and depending on your visa and where you can go, I think it's really cool to just go and explore things. It can be something close. It doesn't have to be, like I said, far away. It doesn't have to be something that's like really expensive and going to put you in debt. But what I'm trying to say is literally packing a bag, putting like a couple of items that you need, and you don't need to like worry with the whole, cargo luggage and the hold luggage. I'm talking about just getting like your personal, your 12 kg bag, because that's normally what makes flights expensive. People think, oh, flying and traveling is expensive, but if you can really like just finesse and just like get your 12 kg bag, put like a couple of jeans, tracksuit, maybe socks and a pair of shoes, and literally a couple of accessories in a 12 kg, like a smaller bag, you can put that on the plane. Like when you get onto the plane, you can literally put that on the plane, and you can go for like 2 3 days, and you can go to like, I went to France, I went to Belgium, I went to Tunisia. I went around just like literally 2 hour flights. I looked online at like, go on Google Flights and then look at like the cheapest time to travel, and just go and explore the world and go do things. I think that makes you more of like an interesting person. You have conversations with different people, you can learn different languages, and I think it's cool. So like, when I'm in France, I'm like bonjour. When I'm in Turkey, I'm merhaba, that's how you say hello there. Or, yatikanis is how you say like, how's it going? You good in Greece? Like, just learning a couple of words of hello, or how are you, or thank you, and please. If you know those words, and bye, if you know those basic words, you can pretty much, have a great time and go and see things. And I think that it's really good to do that. It doesn't matter if you're in America, you can go to a different state. If you're in South America, you can travel in the jungle and go to different areas. If you're in Africa, it's very cool because you can go from like different countries in Africa, and they got cheap flights. I know there's like a cheap South African Airlines, and if you're in Asia, you go to wherever you are in the world, you got to look at expanding your horizon and meeting new people and getting out there and becoming more confident. And by meeting people from a different around the world, exposes you to different cultures, different foods, different environments, and sometimes your perspective on people can actually change because you're seeing how other people live, and they live different to the way you live, which, everyone says that, oh, the way I am is normal, but the way everybody thinks is their life is normal. So sometimes it's good to see life from other people's point of view, or travel to other cultures or other fashion, or to see things that you might not have known you would see, and you see things that you might have never experienced in your life, and you're seeing a whole different side of the world where I've been to Australia, for example, and they got like kangaroos jumping around, and that was crazy to me. Like I went to Perth, and I saw that, which obviously in UK I've never seen a kangaroo before. So this is what I'm trying to say, that by traveling and going to different countries, you can see new animals, you can see new food, new cultures, new fruit. There's a lot of fruit actually. I tried some fruit when I was in the jungle. I tried some fruit that I've never had before as well. So this is what I'm saying, like, even like when it comes to food, or when it comes to like spices or seasonings or all these kinds of things. So when you travel, you get to see and try these things there. back home you would never get to try, even if you had a lot of money. And let's say you became a millionaire, but you stayed in the same country. There's so much culture, food, talent, music that you're missing out on because you haven't traveled and actually gone to other places to see it and listen to it and experience it. And even going to clubs, like I went to a club in Germany that was like a 5 floor techno club, and it was crazy, like, like it was real crazy. And like the beer that they served us was so huge, and these kinds of things. It was in Berlin. And I just think that, if I never got to go to Germany, or I never got to go to France, Amsterdam, I would have never like been able to smoke legally in a coffee shop. I went to Amsterdam and I got to experience that, and it's cool. And this is what I'm saying, that, you know, not the police isn't the same everywhere in the world. People, the levels of corruption in the world differ depending on where you go. So this is what I'm saying, that you can have a different outlook on life and a different outlook on fashion or what you hold valuable to you, just by doing these things and just by seeing how different buildings are laid out, how different countries operate. And then you can also start to appreciate what you have back home. Because, like, for example, where I live in the UK, there's not too many potholes. But then I've gone to other countries where the roads are completely destroyed and there's potholes everywhere. It just makes you appreciate driving and the smoothness of that. And, like I said, with the transport, there's countries that the transport's really good. And then there's countries like I went to Athens and Greece where the transport's a bit bad. And you get to appreciate just the differences in culture and food. Oh, Greece, the food is really nice though. Greece, Athens, I don't know what that sauce was, but they had this like salsa sauce that was super nice. But that's my point. Like, traveling the world, going to different places, seeing things will broaden your horizon and your interactions with your daily life. And you got cool stories to tell and cool photos to take. So I see it as a like net positive. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is just a video on traveling and why I think it's really important that you do it.